UFC Fight Night Vegas 32, Sandhagen versus Dillashaw just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well, starting with the early prelim opener of Belbita versus Hannah Goldy. Great fight to start off the card. It wasn't the best fight in the world, don't get me wrong, some very, very technical mistakes made constantly throughout the fight, but it was a great scrap back and forth. Belbita got the big moments where she needed them, but then again, Hannah Goldy ended the fight in full mount, landing some big shots. We're going to get to all of the other fights with the terrible, terrible judges' decisions in a second. I'm just going to have to get through these first ones first. Belbita versus Hannah Goldy. Great scrap. Belbita got a knockdown in the first round, which definitely won her that first round pretty convincingly. Round 2 I thought was Belbita's round as well, maybe, but it was close. Round 3 I thought was Belbita's round. She had Hannah Goldy hurt in that round as well against the cage, started really piecing her up, but Hannah Goldy at the end of it, of course, took the mount, landed some good shots, but overall I'd say it was just too clear for Belbita. She landed the better shots on the feet. She was chopping down the legs of Hannah Goldy as well. Very close fight. In all honesty, with the judging tonight, this could have been also a robbery, somehow, some way. But I thought Belbita definitely did enough to get herself the decision win. They scored it 30-27. I said it would be a 30-27 decision win for Belbita. Just way more technically sound on the feet. Don't get me wrong, Hannah Goldy had some good moments. I will say this. This is why Hannah Goldy lost herself the fight. She doesn't do hard sparring. I know this for a fact. Mackenzie Dern, in her last fight against Virna Jandiroba, or whoever it was, 2 fights ago against Virna Jandiroba, I guess, she claimed it was her first time hard sparring ever. Women's MMA, they don't hard spar. Hannah Goldy was throwing kicks like someone who had never hard sparred before in her life. The way she placed those kicks was not to cause any damage in any way whatsoever, and I think if she actually put some power on those shots, maybe she could have done something to Belbita with those body kicks. Either way, Belbita outlanded her, moving on up the card. Sijara Eubanks versus Elise Reed. Just as I supposed, but I thought it would take a little bit longer and maybe go to a decision. Sijara Eubanks, way too big. Women's flyweight division. Sijara Eubanks is a massive women's flyweight fighter. Has fought at bantamweight before, of course. Elise Reed was an atom weight that moved up to strawweight, that now is fighting at flyweight in the UFC against Sijara Eubanks, not on a full camp. Just got out there and got destroyed by Sijara Eubanks, outstrengthed in the clinch, got taken down, pounded out in the first round, shelled up. The eye was completely destroyed. Not much else to say about this bout. Sijara Eubanks went out there, pushed Elise Reed backwards, and just took her down and controlled from there, dominantly on top. Sijara Eubanks gets the job done against Elise Reed. Moving on up the card, Julio Arce versus Ewell. And it wasn't just the judges that were on some very funny stuff tonight. The referees had some questionable moments. I don't even think this was that bad of a stoppage, but it was... No, this was a bad stoppage in my opinion. Ewell got rocked. Essentially, that was kind of it. He got rocked against the cage in round 2, was wobbled, and then they stopped the fight. And I thought it was a very bad stoppage. You've got to give Ewell a chance to recover there. And this isn't even one of those situations where you say, oh, well, it wasn't a championship fight. He shouldn't take that much damage. Like, he got rocked, but he was moving. He was covering up. He was definitely there, attempting to defend himself. I don't think that fight should have been stopped. However, if that fight were to continue, I do believe Julio Arce was going to win. Now, if Julio Arce was losing the entire time and then got that finish, it would be way worse of a situation. However, Julio Arce had won himself the first round due to a similar situation as well. He actually rocked Ewell in the first round and landed some good shots there. Maybe that's what the referee was thinking. You've already been rocked once, now it's again. I'm going to stop it here, but I just think it was a bad stoppage. Round 2, Julio Arce was actually losing round 2, I thought, until the stoppage happened. But yeah, decent scrap back and forth. Julio Arce gets to finish. Great shot he landed on Ewell. Ewell, in my opinion, the entire fight was just fighting dumb. Don't know what he was doing out there. He has such a reach advantage over so many bantamweights, but never throws front kicks. Doesn't throw jabs. He just loads up with rear hands and hooks. I don't know what he was doing out there. He gave Julio Arce that win, in my opinion. He could have stayed behind his jab, tried to use the front kick, tried to use some leg kicks from the outside as well. He was doing that a little bit, but just not enough, in my opinion. Kept trading on the inside with Julio Arce. Eventually, it caught up to him, and Julio Arce put him away. Julio Arce, great performance. Down at bantamweight, he's a great fighter. I think maybe him versus like a Chris Gutierrez if he wins his next bout next. Who knows what they're going to do at bantamweight with Julio Arce. Maybe even Julio Arce versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I wouldn't mind anything right now. Good win by Julio Arce. Just really, really early stoppage. Moving on up the card. Mickey Gall versus Jordan Williams. There were some hidden gems on this card. Mickey Gall got a big win against Jordan Williams. The guy who went to a split decision against Magomedov on the Contender Series. Mickey Gall got a great win against him in the first round, landed some big shots early, rocked Jordan Williams on the feet really, really badly in the first round. Did they score a knockdown in that fight? They didn't, but there basically was a knockdown in that fight if you watch it closely. Like, there was a moment in the first round where Jordan Williams was doing good, landing some good shots, got in the clinch with Mickey Gall, and Mickey Gall landed like a tight right hand in the clinch. Jordan Williams definitely got knocked down by that, but Mickey Gall sort of followed him to the ground in a grappling situation, so it didn't look like he got dropped, but I thought Jordan Williams probably would have got dropped by that shot. He got rocked on the feet at another point as well by Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall was looking good, man. He landed big shots. I think he could have maybe got a TKO on the feet in the first round, but instead he went for his basic stuff, got him to the ground, sunk in the rear naked choke, and got it done at the end of the first round. Mickey Gall back in the mix. Good performance, man. First round finish against a guy who went to a split decision against a guy who people have been saying is going to take over the UFC when he gets here. Magomedov has been talked about as like the next Habib of welterweight, and he's going to come and destroy everyone. And for Mickey Gall to go out there and submit this guy in the first round, despite going to a split decision with that other monster, shows how good Mickey Gall is, man. He's actually a decent fighter, and I think it's time to start taking him a little bit seriously. Not entirely seriously, just slightly seriously. Moving on up the card. Nassourdine Imavov versus Ian Heinisch. I thought another weird stoppage. Sorry. It was a great win, though. This one was better than the Arce versus Andre Ewell fight as well. First round, I thought was actually pretty close. They showed the strikes on the screen at the end of the first round. It had Nassourdine Imavov doubling Ian Heinisch. I thought the first round was very, very close, and it was actually on the stats afterwards. 16-14 for Nassourdine Imavov, with Ian Heinisch landing way more of his shots. Landed some great leg kicks in the first round, did Ian Heinisch. Landed some good overhands. Clipped Nassourdine Imavov on the chin a couple of times, but Nassourdine Imavov showed that he's got a good chin. Took the shots well. Nassourdine Imavov used to be a welterweight. I thought Ian Heinisch was a bit of a weight bully at middleweight. Nassourdine Imavov is fucking massive. I did not realise that. That wasn't why he won, but man, he is... I don't know how he made welterweight ever in his career. Either way, the second round, different situation. Ian Heinisch gassing out a lot on the feet. A couple of good body shots from Nassourdine Imavov. Definitely spud that along as well. He was dipping some good lead hooks to the body, speeding up the cardio decrease of Ian Heinisch, if you will. And at the end of the second, in the midway point in the second round, Ian Heinisch just sort of sank down against the cage, got hurt to the body, got put down, rocked pretty badly. But I thought that maybe let a couple more punches land. And I think the reason why the referee stepped in was because Nassourdine Imavov was looking up at him, and that kind of does spur the referee on because it makes him feel like they're doing something wrong, so they want to jump in there. But he was covering up. I know he looked like he was a little bit mentally defeated. I just wanted to see some clean... I just love seeing someone's head get smashed off the canvas. Maybe I'm incorrect in that way. I don't like glove shot finishes. If you're punching someone's guard, I think it shouldn't be finished. I just want to see someone get KO'd bad. Either way, Nassourdine Imavov got the TKO win. Would have won at the end of that round anyway, I guess. Nassourdine Imavov, great job. Gets the job done. Amazing win against Ian Heinisch, who's very good in that middleweight division. This pushes Phil Hawes way up the rankings as well, remember, because Phil Hawes has a winner against Nassourdine by cheating brutally in the fight, constantly grabbing the cage. But Nassourdine Imavov, great win over Ian Heinisch. Moving on up the card, again in the middleweight division, Punahele Soriano versus Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen won this fight last 2 rounds, man. Great performance. I thought the first round actually could have gone either way. I don't even mind giving the first round to Punahele Soriano. They both landed 28 shots each. Punahele was a little bit more accurate. I thought he rocked Brendan Allen at one point in that first round. I know DC said you're stupid if you think that the first round could have gone to Punahele, which is ridiculous. But then again, Brendan Allen... let me just put this... Before I speak about how good Brendan Allen looked in that fight, Daniel Cormier said, "You're stupid and shouldn't watch the sport if you think that round 1 should have gone to Punahele Soriano." I said live, once I heard that Daniel Cormier had said that, I said, "Oh, well, DC's being ridiculously biased. Of course you can score that for Punahele. What, is Brendan Allen from Lafayette, Louisiana, or something like that?" I look it up. He's from Louisiana. And, coincidence maybe. I think DC's got a little bit of a home field bias sometimes. But he was good for the rest of the card, though, I will admit that. DC turned himself around towards the main event. Some of the judging was really bad. But Brendan Allen got the job done, man, and looked really good. Let's talk about that, sorry. Rounds 2 and 3, Brendan Allen looked really good. Even in round 1, that body kick he was landing, I mean, Punahele Soriano is going to be shitting out bricks later. Those body kicks that Brendan Allen was landing, and the shots that Punahele Soriano was landing, both of these guys are so tough. If you could put the body of Punahele Soriano on the face of Brendan Allen, and it's just like a weird mongoloid, hideous creation of two different people, the torso of Punahele Soriano and the head of Brendan Allen, you've got a future middleweight world champion. They can't be defeated. Brendan Allen took bombs on the chin, shook them off like they were nothing, laughed at them. Punahele Soriano, body kicks that would sit down anyone else. Clean body kicks, straight on the liver, no question, no bouncing off of elbows, not glancing off of legs. Boom, flat shot, smashing into the ribs. Punahele took them all and kept going and kept pushing in the 3rd round. Brendan Allen was too technical, though. Too technical on the feet. Way more weapons than Punahele Soriano. I think that was the main situation of this fight. He didn't even have to use his grappling. He shot one takedown, and it was kind of like a bit of a fake takedown as well. Just stayed on the feet with Punahele Soriano, blasted kicks into him, and just made him hold his ground a little bit more. And Brendan Allen just was way more diverse. Uppercuts, combination punches, Punahele, dip down, overhand, winging hooks to the body. Punahele Soriano just didn't have enough weapons, and Brendan Allen put him away. Brendan Allen, 25 years of age, win over Kevin Holland, win over Kyle Dalkaus, win over Carl Roberson, win over Punahele Soriano. Rank that man up at number 15, in my opinion. Let's do him versus Tavares next. Great win by Brendan Allen. Moving on up the card, Adrian Yanez versus Randy Costa. This was a great card, ruined by decisions. We'll get to him in a second, but this was a great card. Adrian Yanez versus Randy Costa. I thought it was over for Yanez. I thought that Yanez was exposed after the 1st round. But then, towards the end of the 1st round, all of a sudden, Randy Costa starts really slowing down. And then you think about it and you're like, well, yeah, you threw 123 shots in round 1, dude. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it was Aljo Yan kind of stuff when you're thinking, like, this is good, but, like, how much longer can this continue for? Randy Costa's thrown 10 head kicks in the 1st minute. Like, you've got to slow down here, Randy Costa. Maybe if he would have got a KO in the 1st round, it would have worked out for him and we wouldn't even be saying this stuff. But this was a great scrap back and forth. Amazing fight. Lived up to the hype for sure. Even Adrian Yanez landed 33 significant strikes in the 1st round to Randy Costa's 57. Really turned it around in the last 2 minutes, I thought. Got his knockdown at the end of the 2nd round, or the midway point of the 2nd round, with a big uppercut. Sat Randy Costa down, and Randy Costa was just like in the final scene of 300 Spartans, just on his knees, looking up at the sky and just covering his face and just taking unanswered shots on the ground. And he just wasn't even moving. He was just on his knees, not moving in any way. You kind of got to stop that when a guy sinks to his knees like that, especially when they get knocked down into that position in the first place. Adrian Yanez gets the stoppage win in the 2nd round. I think this was good for him. I think, although it showed that Yanez is, in some ways, maybe beatable if you can put that pressure on him for a longer amount of time, and maybe work in some grappling as well, who knows? I guess we're waiting to see how he does against a good wrestler. Adrian Yanez showed that he can go through adversity, he can get his nose bloodied up, his eye swollen up, and still come out on top in the other end of things. Land great, I'm burping everywhere. Land great shots, pick his shots in the 2nd round, go to the body where he needs to, chop at the legs where he needs to as well, which I thought was a very big tool at the end of the 1st round. I think he landed about, I want to say 15 leg kicks throughout the fight, just chopping up Randy Costa's legs, destroying him to the body now and again as well, and then just finishing it upstairs. Great performance by Adrian Yanez. Not the greatest in the world because he did lose that 1st round, and the first part of it was really bad for him, but Yanez was amazing. Turned it around. Costa couldn't keep that pace. Yanez showed that he can go through adversity, and he got the job done. I literally screamed at one point, Yanez can't box, but he can. It's just that Randy Costa just wouldn't stop fucking throwing. And Yanez was like, what the fuck is going on? When are you going to stop throwing? He threw literally 123 strikes in the first round. That's crazy. Either way, Adrian Yanez, great finish in the second round. Great performance, man. Yeah, can't wait to see what's next for Adrian Yanez. Moving on up the card. Miranda Maverick versus Maycee Barber. And here is where it began. That was the worst decision I maybe have ever seen. It was so clearly Miranda Maverick's fight in the first 2 rounds. The third round is even arguable to Miranda Maverick, but I gave it to Maycee Barber. I have zero idea how they gave any of rounds 1 or 2 to Maycee Barber. It made 0 sense. Round 1, undeniably Miranda Maverick. We all know that. Even the judges fucking knew that, for fuck's sake. Round 3 can go to Maycee Barber. She edged it, I thought, at the end. Round 2, close round. Both girls landing good shots. Miranda Maverick outlanding Maycee Barber 15-3 on significant strikes. At the end of round 2, if I told you, and you're not an MMA judge, by the way, trained to judge fights, that there is an even round, and at the end of that round, one fighter will take down the other against a cage, get their back, and land some total strikes towards their head, about 10 of them at the end of the second round, when it was even before that moment. You just give that round to Miranda. How can... It screams rigged to me. These were close odds, and everyone I know of was picking Miranda Maverick. Literally everyone got great odds on Maverick because they were for some reason close odds when it started off. I have no idea why they were close odds, but everyone was putting money on Maverick, including myself. I think that when you don't own the judging, UFC, and Vegas Commission owns the judging, when they also do the betting, that they might change some things here and there. That was not Maycee Barber's fight. Miranda Maverick got a great win. Maycee Barber is genuinely quite shit. I don't think she's going to be anything in the flyweight division, even if they say the future is still bright for Maycee Barber. They knew if she lost, they'd have to consider cutting her, and she has 250,000 followers on Instagram, and that's why they kept her on. I guess. Absolute bullshit. Moving on up the card. Darren Elkins versus Darrick Minner. I went with Darrick Minner here, and it looked like I was going to be correct. I said guillotine at the end of the first round, or the start of the second round. And Darren Elkins gets it done. Let's talk about the fight before I say what I want to say. Darrick Minner dominating early, winning the control time in the first round, landing all of the good shots, having submission attempts, guillotine after guillotine after guillotine. I was shitting myself because I literally predicted a guillotine. It would have been amazing. Constant submission attempts, kept going for it, kept taking the back of Darren Elkins, out-grappling him, landing better shots. Round 2 comes around. Darrick Minner loses positional control, and I will say this. Elkins won. Darrick Minner was gassing out either way, okay? And it's shit that Darren Elkins... it's terrible that Darrick Minner was gassing out. This is an old man Elkins. You're in your prime. Don't gas out in the start of this fucking second round. It wasn't even that crazy of a pace in the first. Gasses out in the second, would have lost anyway. There were so many back of their head shots from Darren Elkins, and it's just an ignored part of the game now. I am sorry if you don't like me shitting on the parade of Darren Elkins. He landed, I want to say, not just with the finishing moment, because he landed like 5 illegal shots there, in my opinion. Some clean, but some illegal, and you can... And this needs to be mentioned. You die when you get hit in the back of the head. Boxers die when they get hit in the back of the head. There's a famous boxer who took a couple of shots there with gloves on, and he died because of that. You can't hit the back of the head for a reason, and judges and referees, or referees even, just choose to ignore it sometimes. Elkins landed a bunch of them in the first round to the back of the head, a bunch of them at the start of the second round to the back of the head, and even the finishing sequence had a couple of them to the back of the head as well. I'm not saying that's why he won the fight, but I just think that's such a weird thing that they ignore that rule. And I might make a video about it, because I feel like, why not just legalize it? Because it seems like it always happens. You know what I mean? But good win from Darren Elkins. got his money. I believe he made 150 grand with a win tonight, so that's really good for him. Great win by Darren Elkins, man. The damage survives the onslaught again, comes out on the other side with the win. Good job, man. He would have won anyway. Congratulations, Darren Elkins. I'm just saying. It's weird how they just accept the back of the head shots now. Moving on to the co-main event. And you thought the controversy was over. No. Kyler Phillips versus Raulian Paiva. At the end of the first round, I looked to my chat and I said to them, and I want this to be clear, this is a quote. I looked to my chat at the end of the first round and I said, what do you think, 10-7 maybe? I literally said that on stream. You can go back and check. What do you guys think, 10-7 or 10-8? There was a chance at 10-7. Now listen, they gave Justin Gaethje a 10-7 round against Tony Ferguson. He didn't even drop him. Kyler Phillips dropped Raulian Paiva. I want to say technically twice, but they only officially gave him one. He battered the shit out of him that round. The entirety of it, landed brutal elbows in the clinch, brutal elbows in the open that rocked and wobbled Raulian Paiva as well. Ended the round onslaughting on Raulian Paiva, looking like the referee was about to step in. I thought it was completely done. Raulian Paiva is done here at the end of the first round. He is getting absolutely fucking smashed. 10-9. Listen, I want to say this as well. Phillips looked like shit. I am angry at Kyler Phillips. He could do way better than that. And he looked like absolute shit out there. Bad footwork, overthrew shots early. I guess maybe looked for the finish too much, but I guess he looked for the finish so much to at least get himself a 10-8 round in his eyes. So that way, even if he lost the last two, he can still get a draw and know that in his head. They gave it a 10-9 round. I was arguing if it could have been a 10-7. That's how bad these judges were. That is the clearest 10-8 I've seen in a very long time. He smashed Paiva around the cage in the first round and brutalized him start to finish pretty much. And they didn't give him a 10-8 round. Crazy to me. They're supposed to be easier to get. They're harder to get than they used to be about 5 years ago, it feels like. No idea what's going on. But Paiva, credit to him. He came back in the second and third, got himself the job done. I thought the third was a questionable round, but Paiva ended up on top, so like Paiva gets that round. Round two I thought was close, but apparently not according to the stats. But yeah, just really bad stuff from the judges. I thought to myself watching it live, now does Kyler Phillips win 29-27, or do they give this a draw? Or does he get the 10-7 in round one? That's my mindset at the end of this fight. Or does he get a 10-7 at the end of round one, and that wins him the fight anyway, even if Paiva wins the last two? I saw 29-28 on the scorecards, and I said, oh fuck, they've given it to Paiva. And how do they do that? I don't get it, but credit to Paiva. He survived short notice. He came back with more cardio than Kyler Phillips, and he had some moments himself. I will say this. Kyler Phillips, you don't need a wheel, and the same thing I said about Sandhagen, you don't need wheel kicks every 5 seconds, dude. Couple jabs, couple body shots, couple knees to the stomach. Don't get all Mikel Pereira on us. You're going to have to recalibrate yourself and be a bit more basic, because there was a moment in round two and round three, that lost him the entire fight. If it was a draw, there's no way that the round one wasn't a 10-8 or 10-7. Anyway, round three, he lost himself that round because he went for an inverted triangle with a minute left when he could have just taken top position. Like, silly mistakes from Phillips, looking to get a big finish against Raulian Paiva, and it backfired, but it should have been a draw either way. Don't know how on earth you get a 10-8 round nowadays, and it's supposed to be fucking easier. Chris Lee was the only one who scored it correct. No one did. Saudi Amato scored it correctly, 28-28. Saudi Amato is the logic in the fucking judging booth. Can I just say, fire Chris Lee and Saudi Amato. Don't have them both on the same fucking fight. Spread them out, at least, on different events, maybe. Don't have them on the same fucking fight. Either way, stupid decision, but stupid decision-making by Kyler Phillips. Moving on up the card, TJ Dillashaw versus Cory Sandhagen. I've made a full fight reaction to this. I know there's some people saying that Cory got robbed. I don't think so. I think it was a close decision that can go to TJ. 90% like to dislike ratio on my video right now, which kind of shows that maybe a lot of people do understand that Dillashaw probably won. I think there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. I understand you can see Cory winning. I'm not saying that the only people that think Cory won are emotional and sad. You can think Cory won round 1. Don't mind it. I thought TJ won round 1. I thought TJ won round 3. I thought TJ won round 5. Round 2 and 4 were Cory's. Round 4 was close, but Cory landed good shots at the end of round 4, and even a great back fist at the end of round 4 that sort of sent TJ over to the cage. Cory gets round 4. Cory gets round 2. I thought it was 2-1 TJ going into the 4th. 2-2 going into the 5th. Last minute of the 5th round, it's even, basically. Maybe Sandhagen is slightly up. Last minute of the 5th round, TJ Dillashaw pushes to the fucking brink. And that's what wins you these kinds of fights. When it's down to the 5th, and Dillashaw is pushing to the limit in the 5th round, walking down Sandhagen, swinging bombs, looking for shots. That wins him that fight. He landed great combinations at the end of the 5th round, had control time, and I know that a lot of people don't really like to hear that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about cage control. I'm talking about clinch control, top position. People don't like talking about that stuff, but in razor close rounds, that stuff matters, and I'll tell you the difference in this fight. TJ knew that stuff mattered. He knew that stuff mattered. He knew at the end of round 1, if he lands a couple of total strikes to finish the round, and finishes the round with a couple of good hammer fists on the chin of Cory Sandhagen, which, by the way, I thought maybe could have put Sandhagen out at one point, in all honesty. As he was going for that leg, he took some big hammer fists, and I was worried for Sandhagen's chin, but he's got a great chin. Round 2, Sandhagen's round pretty clearly. Round 3, TJ outlanded him 26-23. And also, in that round, got a quick takedown. Kneed up the thigh in the clinch. Landed total strikes against the cage. Pushed forward the whole time. Landed great shots of his own. I thought Dillashaw won the 3rd round. Round 4, Sandhagen's. Round 5, minute left in the round. Dillashaw says, fuck this, I'm pushing forward, I'm getting this win. Puts his chin down and starts walking down Sandhagen for a finish. And outlands him because of it. Gets a good solid 10 significant strikes in the last minute of that 5th round. Bringing it back for himself, 40-38. I know people don't like Dillashaw. I know he's on EPO. I know he's a cheater. I know he's all of that. I know he's a snake. He out-IQ'd Sandhagen. TJ kept basic. He chopped at the legs. He threw good shots on the feet. He threw good jabs. He threw great straight right hands. Good slips to overhands and slips to lead hooks. Sandhagen had some moments where he was doing really good, but didn't keep it that way. The way Dillashaw stayed composed. Sandhagen, in my opinion, lost this fight for his own stupidity. He had a great chance to beat a rusty Dillashaw who tore his ACL in the middle of the fight, who had blood leaking down one eye and couldn't see out of one eye for the entirety of the fight almost. He had a chance to beat Dillashaw. What did he do? Where Dillashaw stuck to leg kicks and jabs and shots to the body and knees to the thigh against the cage, Cory Sandhagen, every now and again, would throw a random wheel kick or flying knee that would get him taken down or make him slip to bottom position, and Dillashaw takes top control. That was a difference in this fight. TJ stayed basic and composed and focused and did what he needed to do at certain times. Sandhagen stayed good, lost his focus in certain moments, went for amazing finishes because he knows he's had 2 of them in a row, and I think maybe Sandhagen's hype caught up to him and he just focused too much on getting that sick KO rather than just winning himself the fight using smart techniques and tactics. Great fight though, back and forth. I think fight of the night was Punahele Soriano versus Brendan Allen. I thought that was a great fight. I know they're probably going to give it to the main event, but I genuinely believe that Punahele Soriano versus Brendan Allen should get the fight of the night bonus. They'll probably go Kyler Phillips, Howley and Paiva because of the pity money to Phillips. But I think fight of the night was Punahele Soriano, Brendan Allen. Performance of the night, I will say Adrian Yanez. And then Nassourdine Imavov or Mickey Gall. I don't really mind. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later.